Collier is in serious hot water after lying on Caitlin Clark on national television.
The WNBA All-Star coaching trade that had everyone buzzing just took a shocking turn. Now, Collier, not Nafisa, has come forward with some explosive revelations that completely changed the narrative. Her unexpected truth bombs have exposed a side of the story we hadn't seen before, turning everything we thought we knew about Caitlin Clark's controversial coaching decision on its head. The behind-the-scenes drama, once clouded in speculation, now feels much clearer and far more complicated than the tea officially spilled. Fans are left wondering what really went down in those locker room conversations and who was truly calling the shots.
The WNBA All-Star Draft was fun between Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier, the team captains, picking the players, picking the rosters. But the most interesting aspect was the coach swap, because Clark traded Cheryl Reeve, who was the coach of her team, or was to be the coach of her team, to Collier for Sandy Brondello, the coach of the New York Liberty. Of course, Reeve is Collier's head coach for the Minnesota Lynx, so that makes sense. But the drama is going to come from Reeve having previously been critical on social media about the amount of attention Clark received relative to the rest of the league, not to mention being the coach of Team USA that Caitlin Clark was so famously snubbed from.
Here's how it all unfolded, and trust me, it's about to get spicy. The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game was expected to go off without a hitch. Cheryl Reeve was slated to coach Team Clark, while Sandy Brondello of the New York Liberty was set to lead Team Collier. It all seemed simple and straightforward until it wasn't. What looked like a routine setup quickly turned into something far more dramatic, setting the stage for a twist no one saw coming.
I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care. But I think we've already discussed we are going to trade coaches. Fee's going to take her coach, Sandy Brondello. Let's get it. It's going to be amazing. Sorry, WNBA, if that's not in the rule. Sorry, ESPN, if that's not in the rules, but we just made it a rule. So, Sandy Brondello, come on over.
Whoa!
Let's get to it. You can coach Sabrina.
Jack said, then came the bombshell no one saw coming during the broadcast. Caitlin Clark casually dropped a shocking statement. I don't know if this is in the rules. I don't really care, but I think we've already discussed it. Going to trade coaches instantly. The basketball world lost its mind. Social media exploded. Conspiracy theories took off. And most people assumed Clark was pulling a bold power move against Cheryl Reeve. But just when it seemed like it, the story couldn't get any crazier. Boom. Plot twisting coming.
How do you rate Nafisa's drafting skills for her NBA drafting? And for you, Fee, did you know that Cheryl was going to get traded beforehand before you and Clark did that, or was that just on the spot when that happened? So first for you, Nafisa.
Oh, I think Fee knows what she wants, so her draft picks were all great. I'm happy that she, got Courtney, she got Cheryl, so the whole Minnesota Lynx gonna be there. So I'm happy about that. So she's a great drafter.
Yeah, watch out. I might be a GM one day. No, I would hate that job. Yes, I texted Caitlin before to ask if we could trade for Cheryl. So yes, it was pre-planned.
Jack said, Nafisa Collier just dropped the real story, and trust me, it's not what anyone expected. I texted Caitlin before to ask if we could trade for Cheryl. So yes, it was pre-planned. Collier revealed. Wait, what? That means all the noise about Caitlin Clark rejecting Cheryl Reeve was completely off. Let's break this down, because it's actually wild. Everyone assumed Clark was making an even move, basically saying, I don't want that coach, throw it. Shaded Reeve especially after last year's Olympic drama, where Clark was left off Team USA, which Reeve coached. But as it turns out, it was Collier who initiated everything. She reached out to Clark, asked if they could make the coach trade happen, and Clark simply agreed. This wasn't about rejection, it was about Collier wanting continuity with the coach. She's trusted since she entered the league in 2019. It's like choosing your favorite teacher to help with the biggest presentation of your life. Makes total sense. But here's where things get even spicy. The way this was presented during the All-Star broadcast made it seem like Clark was calling the shots. He said, Fee is going to take her coach Cheryl Reeve. Sandy Brondello, let's get it. That line made it sound like it was all her idea, when in reality she was just supporting Collier's request, and that's actually brilliant. Collier got exactly what she wanted her longtime coach, while Clark ended up looking like decision maker, catching heat from critics and fans alike. It's strategic on Collier's part, almost GM-level maneuvering, and she even joked about it, saying, watch out, I might be a GM one day. Before adding, no, I hate that job. Collier waited for the perfect moment to reveal this, dropping the bombshell after her Minnesota Lynx beat the LA Sparks 91-82 in posting blow-up movie. The timing was flawless, and now, everything we thought we knew about the Clark Reeve situation has been flipped. Collier was the mastermind, Clark was just being a team player. It also exposes a glaring double standard. When Clark makes a move, it's overanalyzed, painted as dramatic and controversial. But when Collier doesn't, it's just seen as basketball. strategy. Let's also be real about Clark and Reeves' history. Things have always been tense. Reeves publicly questioned the hype around Clark before her rookie season, and then there was the Team USA snub. But maybe this coach trade wasn't about beef at all. Maybe it was just a smart players making a savvy move that worked for both of them. Clark ends up with Sandy Brondello, championship-winning coach, and Collier sticks with her trusted mentor. Sometimes, the simplest explanation is the right one, even outside of the coach drama. The All-Star draft is loaded with intrigue. Clark made a classy move by picking her favorite teammate Aaliyah Boston first overall. Showing loyalty, chemistry, Collier countered with Brianna Stewart of the Liberty, choosing veteran star power. Their strategies were telling. Clark prioritized relationships and familiarity, while Collier leaned into competitiveness and experience. Even after the coach trade, Clark was still thinking strategy, trying to trade Satusabli the team. Collier so Brondello could coach her Liberty star, Stewart. His entire situation, from start to finish, shows just how sharp both captains are, not just on the court, but in the way they think the game.
Napheesa Collier was on an interview with CBS on a podcast and was asked about what she was most excited about for the coming season. And she said the CBA, not winning a championship, not running it back, but the CBA. And then she was asked a bunch of questions about the CBA, and she acknowledged everybody else except for the one player who's made people notice, and that's Caitlin Clark. A good 15, 20-minute interview, and at no point does she acknowledge that Caitlin Clark is what has given them, or who has given them, the leverage in negotiation, if they have any leverage to begin with. No, instead, she talked about how they have filled up the arenas. She talked about how people are watching on TV. She talked about unrivaled, in fact, her creation. At no point does she mention, Caitlin Clark brought eyes to this product. And now when we walk through an airport, people recognize us. In fact, she said that people now notice them. Why the hell do you think that is? No one knew who the hell you were until Caitlin Clark showed up. This is the non-stop narrative. I mean, man, you thought Napheesa Collier was smart enough to recognize this. But even she is stuck in delusion syndrome. It seems like no one can be helped. Even after Cheryl Miller has told the world, everybody despises Caitlin Clark. They all hate on her. Damn shame.
Napheesa Collier's refusal to part ways with her trusted coach speaks volumes. She's clearly thinking beyond the court. In today's WNBA, it's not just about basketball. It's about brand building, partnerships, endorsements, and long-standing personal relationships. Players like Collier and Caitlin Clark are making decisions with business, loyalty, and strategy all in mind. While most of the attention has been on the coach and trade drama, what's been largely overlooked is how incredibly stacked both all-stars teams are. Clark's starting five featuring Sabrina Ionescu, A'ja Wilson, and Satusabli is absolutely loaded with defensive firepower, even despite some injury concerns. Collier's squad is equally dangerous, boasting a strong bench with Skylar Diggins, Angel Reese, and Kelsey Plum, while her front court includes heavy hitters like Brina Stewart, Alicia Gray, Nikog Womack, and Paige Bukers. These teams aren't just for show, they're built to win, and fans should expect a fiercely competitive game regardless of who's in the sidelines. Though the coaching swap stole the headlines, the bigger picture reveals a showcase of elite talent, balanced roster, and smart player-driven decision-making. ESPN's Malika Andrews confirmed that the WNBA greenlit the coaching trade live during the draft, an unprecedented move that stunned many and highlighted just how much influence today's star players have. In any other league, especially the NBA, this kind of move say. LeBron James trading coaches live would be unthinkable, but the WNBA structure allows for closer relationships between players and league officials, which in turn enables more flexibility and creativity in how things are handled. That same flexibility, however, also allows narratives to spiral and be misunderstood. As seen with the media's early interpretation of the coaching switch, everyone rushed to frame it as Clark rejecting Cheryl Reeves. In fact, it was Collier who initiated the entire move. She got what she wanted, Reeves coaching her squad while allowing the media and fans to spin their own stories around it. This move wasn't just smart, it was brilliant marketing. What could have been just another all-star exhibition suddenly became a buzzworthy event, filled with intrigue and drama. Whether intentionally or not, the coaching controversy is drawn massive attention and will surely boost viewership. The fans win in the end. We get to championship-level coaches, loaded rosters, and just enough narrative juice to keep things spicy. Plus, there's the added intrigue of watching how Clark and Reeve interact now with the supposed drama. has been exposed as a misunderstanding of Brondello, fresh off a title with the Liberty, brings championship pedigree to Clark's team, while Reed, a seasoned developer of talent, returns to lead her longtime player Collier once again. The player dynamics are just as fascinating. Collier kept her youth and roots close, drafting Brina Stewart and paid future players she already shares strong chemistry. That built-in connection can be a game changer. Meanwhile, Clark's draft focused on familiarity as well, selecting her Indiana Fever teammates Aliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell-Early. She's crafting a team around players she trusts, which could lead to smooth, unselfish basketball. At the end of the day, Nafisa Collier completely flipped the narrative. What was painted as a controversial, D-best decision by Caitlin Clark turned out to be a thoughtful, strategic move between them. To savvy players, the media jumped to conclusions, fans got a show, and now we all have a reason to tune in. This situation is a textbook example of why the first story isn't always the right one, and why sometimes the truth is more compelling than the controversy. Collier wasn't playing into the drama, she was controlling the board, playing chess. While everyone else was stuck on checkers, her coaching trade wasn't reckless. It was a calculated masterstroke. Now the question is, how will it all play out on the court? Let us know what you think about this revelation in the comments below.